NXT took place tonight in its home of Orlando, Florida at the WWE Performance Center. And before I get into this review, I wanted to bring a couple of things up. First, Raw just so happened to be in Brooklyn last night, and that was the site, the city Brooklyn, and the venue, the Barclays Center, of the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn show, which was the first takeover for NXT that was outside of Full Sail at that time. And if you remember, if you were watching at that time, that was a groundbreaking show for NXT. It was a landmark show, one of their most important shows of all time. And it's too bad that there was no acknowledgement from it, because it's been 10 years and we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary, and they're not going to be back in Brooklyn anytime soon. The main roster is going to be the next few weeks. After this, they're in Canada, then they're going to be in Europe for their tour, their second European tour, and NXT is going to be in Orlando, then in Philly. So there's no 10-year anniversary for Brooklyn, and that's unfortunate to me, because that was such a landmark show. They couldn't do a PLE during SummerSlam weekend. They already do one during WrestleMania. That's stand and deliver. It was just too much to do a damn PLE during that time. It would have been too much wrestling for me. WrestleMania weekend is brutal getting through that. SummerSlam weekend's tough getting through that with all the stuff that happens if you want to watch everything. And people might not just watch NXT. They'll do it for WrestleMania weekend, but for SummerSlam weekend, you'll have some people skipping the show, so I understand. It's just, I wish there could have been some more NXT presence. That, it's been 10 years since TakeOver Brooklyn, and we're not going to be back in Brooklyn anytime soon. That show had, some people still say it's the greatest women's wrestling match of all time in WWE, and certainly in NXT. That's when Bayley defeated Sasha Banks to win the NXT Women's Championship. All-time match, so I do wish there could have been something. Also, I had to mention this, and I talked about him a lot last week. Haven't as much this week because I want to get back to wrestling. As Vince McMahon's always said, the show must go on, and I dedicated a whole bunch of tributes to him, but I have to mention this. Hulk Hogan's funeral was today, and he was officially laid to rest. Very sad. Died on July 24, 2025. So Ric Flair tweeted. I just wanted to mention this. I thought this was a very nice tweet from Ric. It reads, "Even in heaven, he sold out again. The most beautiful funeral I've ever attended. Everyone was there, from Kid Rock to Triple H to Vince McMahon to Dennis Rodman. The whole world showed up to pay respect to the greatest of all time. To the greatest of them all. Rest in peace, Hulkster." And he tags at Hulk Hogan. Very nice tweet by Rick. Wanted to mention that. Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, officially laid to rest today. And once again, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. So NXT officially started off with Blake Monroe making her entrance. She always uses the meter to make the entrance. And then Kalani Jordan was out after that. That's her opponent. We had Blake Monroe and Kalani Jordan. Match started off pretty hot, and I'm not just talking about the two women who are obviously very hot, but the match started off really good. They have good chemistry. Kalani is very athletic. Obviously, I think we all know that. You saw her matches with Sol Ruca. Both of them are incredibly athletic. We saw Sol Ruca later tonight. But as the match was starting to get good, you had Jordan Grace music play, and Blake Monroe reacts by running away into the crowd, being terrified, and she goes out the door. I think it was almost an emergency exit in the Performance Center, and Jordan goes after her, but outside, Blake is picked up by a vehicle as Jordan was trying to get her, and then the vehicle drives away, and I think as it drives away, it drives into a puddle, and I think Jordan got soaked. It was raining right away, and I like that a lot because we never see rain in the Performance Center, outside the Performance Center. Whenever they go outside the Performance Center, it's always sunny, or it's always like a nice Florida night. We never get to see rain. I thought that was actually cool. I actually like the visuals of seeing rain with palm trees. I just thought that was a cool visual. I know it rains in Florida, obviously. They get hurricanes every year. It's almost hurricane season, by the way. But I just like that visual. It was like this gloomy, blurred, misty visual. It looked cool. And I like that focus of it. But Blake got away. And in the ring, Kalani Jordan officially won the match by countout as Blake Monroe ran away. So Kalani Jordan gets a win over Blake Monroe. And Blake suffers her first loss in NXT, but it's not a pinfall loss, not a submission loss, so it really doesn't count, to be honest. Backstage, Andre Chase is talking to his students. He's not confident about their match tonight. You have Hank and Tank against Chase U. This was all right, but there was a really, really bad botch by, I assume it's the referee. Hank and Tank hit their finish, and one of the members of Chase U is on the outside. He goes to break up the pinfall, but one of the other members of Hank and Tank block him, and it's supposed to be 1, 2, 3. Well, 1, 2, the ref, he won't count the 3. He says that the shoulder's up when it's clearly the shoulder is fucking down. This was a horrible botch. It might get this referee fired. Awful botch. One of the worst referee botches I've ever seen. I'm not lying. So, immediately after that, Hank and Tank hit their finish again and win the match, and that's it. But, wow. That's what I'm going to remember is that fucking botch. And they showed the botch again, so I think they're telling that referee, yeah, you might be hearing those 2 words, you're fired. I think that might happen soon to him. So the Dark State shitters, that's what I'm calling them now, they're shitters. They jumped into the ring afterwards. They destroy both teams. Fuck Dark State, they suck. Fatal Influence was backstage. That's JC Jane, Fallon Henley, Jasmine Nix. And they're in the locker room. And then some guy comes up to JC Jane from NXT and says she's going to face Ash by Elegance on Thursday on Impact. And Ash by Elegance, if you don't know, that's the former Dana Brooke, who was with WWE for several years. She was in the Performance Center for many years. She was in NXT around 10 years ago. I think that's when you first saw her. She was teaming with Emma, if you remember her. Dana Brooke was one of the Performance Center originals, by the way. It was her, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Alexa Bliss, and then Carmella. I think those were the 7 original. That was like the first class of the Performance Center. I think Emma and Paige, but they were kind of more in FCW. They were in NXT for very long. Just thought to bring that up. So you had Miles Bourne talk to Tavion Heights backstage. He's congratulating him after he beat Charlie Dempsey to get out of the No Quarter Catch crew. They show an Instagram video of Thea Hale at a cafe, and she's drinking coffee, and she brings up Friends. If you ever watch Friends, that cafe, that were the lounge and the coach where they always sit. If you ever watch the show, it kind of looks similar to that. That's what she brought up. But yeah, she's taking shots at Nia Jax because she's going to face her later in the show. Miles Bourne was out next, and then Lexis King comes out after him. Miles Bourne defeats Lexis King. Decent matchup, not much to say. We get a Dark State promo that was shit. Fuck Dark State, fired them all. Thea Hale was out next, and then Nia Jax came out for their match. Goes on for a while. Surprise. I was thinking they might release Nia Jax. I mean, I know people might say, well, The Rock is on the board of directors. They'll never release his cousin. Yeah, I understand. And when they fired Nia Jax the first time in 2021, The Rock wasn't with the company. But when they send you to NXT, that's a sign that they're going to fire you. I just mentioned Dana Brooke earlier, Ash by Elegance now. They sent her to NXT, they fire her. Dolph Ziggler's another example. When they start not using you on the main roster and they don't have a spot for you, and then they send you to NXT, that's a sign they might cut you. The one thing I'm not sure about is, yeah, they did send Mishin last year and she's still at the company. And with Nia Jax, she's facing Lash Legend. They want to push her on the main roster. So they might think, well, we're going to use Nia to elevate Lash Legend the same way that they used Mishin to elevate Jada Parker last year. So maybe that's their thinking. But, I mean, they do fire people after they send them to NXT. I mean, Ridge Holland's going to get fired very soon. There's the post-SummerSlam cuts coming, by the way. Be on the lookout for that. Anyway, Nia won. She beat Thea Hale with the Annihilator. Kelly Cade interviewed Nia Jax in the ring after the match. She cuts a promo on Lash Legend. Lash's music then hits. She heads to the ring to fight Nia, but it gets broken up by security, and security could not keep them separated. We'll get into that later. They show us a Ferris wheel in Orlando, and they always show it. I don't know, where is that? I mean, Orlando is the theme park capital of the world, so they probably have like 100 theme parks. I don't think it's Disney. They tell us it was Disney, but where is that Ferris wheel? If someone knows, you can just tell me in the comments. I want to know. Jordan Grace was in Eva's office, and Eva tells Jordan that she's going to face Blake Monroe at Heatwave in a few weeks. That's the next PLE for NXT. Obafemi's out next. Trick Williams comes out. Yeah, he has go away here with me. Trick Williams sucks. He's a horrible TNA champion. He's a shit wrestler. His promos are garbage. It's the same thing every single week. He doesn't change anything up. I'm bored of Trick Williams. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of seeing him in NXT. He can't go to the main roster because he's shit in the ring. He's a horrible worker. Promo's boring. Character is stale as fuck. I hate him as TNA champ. I don't want to see Trick Williams anymore. I'm over this guy. I don't want to see him on my TV anymore. He sucks. Javon Evans comes out next. Again, I don't care to see him talk. He's a really good wrestler. I want to see him fly. His theme song is bouncy. I mean, it's a horrible Def Rebel song, but I want to see him wrestle. That's what you like with Javon Evans. When he had that match with Wesley, I think it was last week, it was really good. I don't need to see him in segments every week. And then Moose from TNA shows up. He wants to face Trick for the TNA title. Trick sucks. Dark State comes out. They fight off the Dark State bombs. That stuff sucks. There's a lot of good on the show, but there's a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit that they need to flush. Let me put it like that. Ariane Grace was coming on to Channing Stacks Lorenzo backstage. And by the way, we never got a follow-up of what happened with the Dawn last week when that shadowy figure was about to kill him. But she's coming on to Stacks, and then as that happens, then we see Lash Legend and Nia Jax brawling backstage. They smash into production boxes. Security has to separate them. We have Ren Sinclair talking to Charlie Dempsey in catering. He's down after he lost Tavion Heights and he left the No Quarter Catch crew. She then, to cheer up Charlie Dempsey, she then randomly sings Joe Hendry's song, and then he appears out of a fridge. This was my favorite part of the show. That was fucking hilarious. There's a fridge. She starts singing, "Say his name," and he appears, and then Joe Hendry literally pops out of a fridge. That genuinely popped me. I just thought that was funny, and that would never work on Raw or SmackDown, but for NXT, it still has that charm, and that's the old school NXT where they had a lot of those comedy gimmicks. It just worked here. I thought that was freaking hilarious. And then Hendry goes to talk to Dempsey and Ren, but Dempsey hates him. He is threatening him. He's showing him disrespect. It leads to a match next week. And then after Dempsey leaves, Ren asks a selfie. She wants to take a selfie with Joe Hendry, and he allows it. So they take a selfie. I guess they're teasing Ren leaving the No Quarter Catch crew after that. Yoshiki Inamura faced Stacks. Ariana Grace slapped Inamura during the match. The ref saw her slap him, and for whatever reason, the referee decides not to disqualify him. I mean, it's clear to disqualify Stacks. Ariana Grace slapped him. She slapped Inamura, but the ref won't. Call the DQ. So the ref is then he's distracted. I don't know why he won't disqualify Stacks, but as he's distracted, Josh Briggs goes in the ring and he boots Inamura so the ref doesn't see it. When the ref looks back, Stacks pins Inamura 1, 2, 3, and so Stacks gets a cheap win. And they continue the Briggs and Inamura feud. Well, I guess Stacks is going to be with Ariana Grace. I think, is he with her in real life? I'm not sure. I think he is. Ethan Page heads to the ring. He's doing the Canadian gimmick. Yeah, it's all right. He's singing the Canadian national anthem. Tavion Heights interrupted him. He reps, Team USA because he represented the United States in the Olympics, so get the fans to chant USA, USA. Then Chelsea Green comes out, and I'm thinking, why is she here? Why? She puts over being Canadian and how she was the first women's United States champion. She sides with Ethan Page. She wants to sing the Canadian national anthem. It leads to her saying, "Oh, Tavion Heights will never punch me," so Heights instead punches Ethan Page. And then he says he's going to find a woman to fight Chelsea Green, so I guess we're getting a mixed tag match maybe at, I don't know if it's next week. Maybe next week. I guess that's what we're getting. I hope they could do it at the Philadelphia show, or I don't think they should do it at Heatwave. So, backstage, Kalani Jordan in the locker room is talking to Lola Vice. And then JC Jane and Fallon Henley walk in. They mock Kalani for the count-out victory over Blake Monroe. And then Jasmine next comes in, and this is after earlier in the show when JC Jane made her polish both her title belts, the NXT Women's Championship and the TNA Knockouts Championship. Jasmine then says she talked to Ava, and there's going to be a tag team match next week with Fallon Henley and JC Jane taking on Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice. So Ruka and Zarya are talking backstage, And then Nia Jax and Lash Legend brawl. They go into frame, and I'm just thinking, wow, I just saw the same shit last night with Sheamus and Rusev. They were brawling all over Raw. They're doing the exact same fucking angle with Nia Jax and Lash Legend. I mean, the exact same thing. I mean, is the NXT writers that uncreative? They're just copying what they saw on Raw the night before. I mean, it's just a replica, and it makes Shawn Michaels look bad. I'm not gonna lie that they're just doing the same shit that I saw the night before. So unoriginal. Ava then comes in and makes a match next week between them, and they still brawled after that. So, and we'll get to the last brawl they had. I guess this was their third brawl. Oba Femi, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans and Moose are all in Ava's office. She says there's an 8-man tag next week with Dark State. Then Hank and Tank walk in. They also want to face Dark State. Ava makes a match with them against 2 of their members at Heatwave. I hope they don't lose the belt to those fucking bums. Dark State fucking sucks. We got an NXT focus on Ricky Sainz. Kelly Kincaid interviewed Ricky after he was being targeted by Jasper Troy. He's going to face Jasper Troy in Philadelphia. I think that's in a couple weeks at the ECW Arena. I think the Philly show is going to serve as the go-home show to Heatwave, if I'm not mistaken. They preview next week's NXT show. Tatum Paxley is out with the culling. Sol Ruka makes her entrance accompanied by Zarya. And by the way, it's funny how they completely ditched the Sol Ruka Zarya attention that Zarya is going to turn on her. They've completely ditched that. Then we get Sol Ruka, Tatum Paxley, NXT Women's North American Championship. The culling interfered, so Sol Ruka responded by taking down Malo with the Charlotte Flair moonsault on the outside. I don't like that. Sol Ruka has a history of knee injuries. That's going to end bad, I think. So they have a decent match in the ring after the break. Tatum Paxley hit this really sick top rope neck breaker, but then after that, Lash Legend and Nia Jax brawl into the ring area. So they're fighting backstage. They go all the way through Gorilla, and then they fight in the ring area. A whole bunch of referees all have to stop it. They can't get these 2 men away from each other. They can't pull them apart. So everyone's distracted. And then they smash through a barricade. During this, Izzy Dame hands Tatum Paxley a doll, so she can use a doll as a weapon, like it's brass knucks or something. But Tatum takes forever to get to her feet and use the doll. And Sol Ruka then hits the Soul Snatcher on Tatum Paxley before she can use the doll. Sol Ruka then pins Tatum Paxley to retain the NXT Women's North American Championship. Sol Ruka stands tall, retaining her belt, and that is how NXT ended tonight. It was a mixed bag. There was a lot of stuff I liked. I liked the beginning. All the stuff with the women's really good. The NXT Women's Division's awesome. The men's division's shit. That's the biggest issue. It's awful, especially with Dark State involved. The tag division's a lot weaker since Fraxium left, so there's a lot of issues with NXT, but there was a couple weeks ago where I said it was like the worst show. I hate watching NXT. I don't feel that way after watching this. There's a lot of flaws, but I think the woman relying on them is probably the best course they can do. And try to ignore the men's division. They have to sign more people. I hate the Ethan Page gimmick and the Canadian gimmick. There's a lot of stuff I don't like on NXT, but I found the show it's watchable this week. It wasn't bad. I liked last week's show a little bit better, to be honest, but this week's NXT was okay, and we'll see what happens. Next week is, I think, the last regular NXT. Then they're going to do the Philly show. Then it's on to Heatwave. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks in NXT.